Go ahead.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayati Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I don't recall if we read the entire introduction to Ādi Lila chapter 1 last week. I think we had a long discussion
We did.
about the initiation issue and the various deletions.
Yes, we read
that
it
took
all,
place.
and we're supposed to begin at text 1 today.
What was that, Prabhu?
We did read the whole introduction, and we're supposed to begin at text 1 today.
Okay. All right. Text number 1, page number 18. Vande Gurunisha Bhaktam Isham Ishabatarakam Tat Prakasham Tat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Sanyakam Vande. I offer respectful obeisances, Gurun, unto the spiritual masters, Isha Bhaktam, unto the devotees of the Supreme Lord, Isham, unto the Supreme Lord, Isha Avatarakam, unto the incarnations of the Supreme Lord, Tat, of the Supreme Lord, Prakashan, unto the manifestations, Cha, and Tat, of the Supreme Lord, Shakti, unto the potencies, Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sanyakam, name. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the spiritual masters, the devotees of the Lord's incarnation, his plenary portions, his energies, and the primeval Lord himself, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I just want to point out all the translations, word for word and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. I just want to point out here, this series of verses that we're going to be reading are very important. Those of you who have the books, you could look at text number 20 and 21, where Krishna Das Kaviraj says, in the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I have invoked their benedictions. Text number 21, such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill one's own desires. So it's a very important sequence of verses here. Text number 2, Bande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sahodito Gaudodaye Pushpavanto Chitro Shamdo Tamonudo Vande. I offer respectful obeisances, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, to Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda, and to Lord Nityananda, Saha Udito, simultaneously arisen, Gauda Udaye, on the eastern horizon of Gauda, Pushpavanto, the sun and the moon together, Chitro, wonderful, Shamdo, bestowing benediction, Tama Nudo, dissipating darkness. Translation by His Divine Grace. I affirm my respectful obeisances unto Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and the moon, sun and moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance, and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. Text number 3. Yadadvaitam Brahmopanishadi tadapi asyatanubha yatmantaryami purusha iti sosyam sabibhava Shadeshwarye purno yaiha bhagavan saswayamayam nachetanyat Krishna's jagati paratatvam paramiha yat that which advaitam non-dual Brahma the impersonal Brahman Upanishadi in the Upanishads tat that api certainly asya his tanubha the effulgence of his transcendental body ya who atma the supersoul antaryami indwelling Lord purusha supreme enjoyer iti thus sa he asya his Amshabhibhavaha, plenary expansion, Sateshwarye, with all 6 opulences, Purnaha, full, Ya, who, Iha, here, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sa, he, Swayam, himself, Ayam, this, Na, not, Chaitanyat, then Lord Chaitanya, Krishnat, then Lord Krishna, Jagati, in the world, Para, higher, Tattvam, truth, Param, another, Iha, here. Translation by Prabhupada. What the Upanishads describe as the impersonal Brahman is but the effulgence of his body, and the Lord knows that the supersoul is but his localized plenary portion. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, full with 6 opulences. He is the absolute truth, and no other truth is greater than or equal to him. Text number 4. Anarpita charim chirata karuna yavatirna kalu samarpayetu monato jvala rasam svabhakti shriyam Harihi purata sundara juti kadamba sandipita sadarudaya kandare ushpuratuva sachinandana Anarpita, not bestowed, Charim, having been formerly, Chirat, for a long time, Karunaya, by causeless mercy, Avatirnaha, descended, Kalau, in the age of Kali, Samarpayitum, to bestow, Unnata, elevated, Ujvalarasam, the conjugal mellow, Swabhakti, of his own service, Shriyam, the treasure, Harihi, the Supreme Lord, Purata, then gold, Sundara, more beautiful, duty of splendor, Kadamba, with a multitude, Sandipitaha, lighted up, Sada, always, Hridaya Kandari, in the cavity of the heart, Spuratu, let him be manifest, Va your Sachinandana, the son of Mother Sachi. Translation: may that Lord who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi be transcendently situated in the innermost chambers of your heart, resplendent with the radiance of molten gold. He has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation ever offered before, the most sublime and radiant spiritual knowledge of the mellow taste of his service. Text number 5. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Alladini Shaktirasmad Ekatmanavapi Bhuvi Puradaya Bedam Gatautu Chaitanyakyam Prakatamadhuna Tadvayam Chekyamaptam Radha Bhavadyuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. Radha Srimati Radharani, Krishna of Lord Krishna, Pranaya of love, Vikritihi, the transformation, Alladini Shaktihi, pleasure potency, Asmat, from this, Ika Atmanu, both the same in identity, Api, although, Bhava Bhuvi, on earth, Pura, from beginningless time, Deabhitam, separate forms, Gato, obtain, Tau, those two, Caitanya-caritāmṛta, known as Sri Caitanya, Prakatam, manifest, Adhuna, now, Tadvayam, the two of them, Cha, and Aikyam, unity, Aptam, obtain, Radha, of Srimati Radharani, Bhava, mood, duty, the luster, Subalitam, who is adorned with, Naumi, I offer my obeisances, Krishna Swarupam, to him who is identical with Sri Krishna. Translation by His Divine Grace. The loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestation of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, they separated themselves eternally. Now these two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. Text number 6. Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vanayeva Asvadyu Yinadbhuta Madhurima Kidrisho Vamadiyah Saukyam Chasya Madanubhavataha Kidrusham Vetilobhat Tadbhavadyah Samajani Sachi Garbha Sindhu Harindu. Sri Radhaya of Srimati Radharani, Pranaya Mahima, the greatness of the love, Kidrishaha, of what kind, Va, or, Anaya, by this one, Radha, Eva, alone, Asvadyaha, to be relished, Yena, by that love, Adbhuta Madhurima, the wonderful sweetness, Kidrishaha, of what kind, Va, or, Madiyaha, of me, Saukyam, the happiness, Cha, and, Asyaha, her, Mat Anubhavataha, from realization of my sweetness, Kidrisham, of what kind, Va, or, iti, thus, lobhat, from the desire, tat, her, bhava adyaha, richly endowed with emotions, samajani, took birth, Sachigarbha, of the womb of Srimati Sachidevi, Sindhu, in the ocean, Hari, Lord Krishna, Induhu, like the moon. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love, and the happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love, the Supreme Lord Hari, richly endowed with her emotions, appears from the womb of Sachi Devi, of Srimati Sachi Devi, as the moon appears from the ocean. Text 7. Sankarashana karanato yashayi, garbodashayi, chetpayobdishayi, sheshashtayam sakalaha, sanityanandakya sharanam mamastu. Sankarshana, Maha Sankarshana in the spiritual sky. Karana Toyashayi, Karana Dakshayi Vishnu, who lies in the causal ocean. Garbhodashayi, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, who lies in the Garbhodaka ocean of the universe. Cha and Payaha Abdishayi, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, who lies in the ocean of milk. Sheshaha, Sheshanaga, the couch of Vishnu. Cha and Yasya, whose? Amshaha, plenary portion. Kalaha, and parts of the plenary portions. Sa, he. Nityananda Akya, known as Lord Nityananda. Ramaha, Lord Balarama. Sharanam, shelter. Mama, my. Astu, let there be. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. May Sri Nityananda Rama be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankarshana, Sheshanaga, and the Vishnus who lies on the Karana ocean, Garbha ocean, and ocean of milk are his plenary portions and the portions of his plenary portions. Text number 8. Maya titi vyapi vaikunta loke Purneshvarye Shri Chaturvyuha Madhye Rupam Yasodbhati Sankarashanakyam Tam Shri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye. Maya Atite, beyond the material creation, Vyapi, all expanding, Vaikuntha Loke, in Vaikuntha Loka, the spiritual world, Purna Eshvarye, endowed with full opulence, Sri Chatuhu Vyuha Madhye, in the quadruple expansion, Vasudev, Sankarshana, Pradyumna and Aniruddha, Rupam, form, Yasya, whose, Udbhati appears, Sankarshana Akyam, known as Sankarshana, Tam, to him, Srinityananda Ramam, to Lord Balarama, in the form of Lord Nityananda, Prapadye, I surrender. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. I surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Rama, who is known as Sankarshana in the midst of the Chaturvyuha, consisting of Vasudev, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. He possesses full opulences and resides in Vaikuntha Loka, far beyond the material creation. Text number 9. Maya Bhartajanda Shangashrayanga Shete Sakshat Karanam Bhudi Madhye Yasye Kamsha Sripumanadi Devas Tam Sri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye. Maya Bharta, the master of the illusory energy, Ajanda Sangha, of the multitude of universes, Ashraya, the shelter, Angaha, whose body, Sheti, he lies, Sakshat, directly, Karana Ambodhi Madhye, in the midst of the causal ocean, Yasya, whose, Eka Amshaha, one portion, Sri Puman, the Supreme Person, Ādi Devaha, the original Purusha incarnation, Tam to him, Sri Nityananda Ramam, to Lord Balarama, in the form of Lord Nityananda, Prapadye, I surrender. Translation by His Divine Grace. I offer my full obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Rama, whose partial representation called Karanodakshayi Vishnu, lying on the Karana ocean, is the original Purusha, the master of the illusory energy, and the shelter of all the universes. Text number 10. Yasyam samsaha shilagarbhodashayi yannabhyabjam lokasanghatanalam lokasrashtuhu sutikadhamadhatus tam Sri Nityananda Ramam prapadye. Yasya, whose, amshaha, portion of a plenary portion, Srila Garbha Udashayi, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, Yat of whom, Nabi Abjam, the navel lotus, Loka Sanghata, of the multitude of planets, Nalam, having a stem that is the resting place, Loka Srashtuhu, of Lord Brahma, creator of the planets, Sutikadhama, the birthplace, Dhatuhu, of the creator, Tam, to him, Sri Nityananda Ramam, to Lord Balaram, in the form of Lord Nityananda, Prapadye, I surrender. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. I offer my full obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Rama, a partial part of whom is Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. From the navel of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu sprouts the lotus that is the birthplace of Brahma, the engineer of the universe. The stem of that lotus is the resting place of the multitude of planets. Yasyam sam samsaha paratma kilanam poshta vishnur bhati dugdabdishayi kshani bharta yat kala sopyanantas tam Sri Nityananda Ramam prapadye. This is text number 11. Yasya, whose, amshaha, a portion of a portion of a plenary portion, Para-atma, the super soul, Akilanam, of all living entities, Poshta, the maintainer, Vishnu, Bhati, appear, Dugda Abdishayi, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, Kshani Bharata, upholder of the earth, Yat, whose, Kala, portion of a portion, Sa-i, Api, certainly, Anantaha Sheshanaga, Tam, to him, Sri Nityananda Ramam, to Lord Balaram in the form of Lord Nityananda, Prapadye, I surrender. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Rama, whose secondary part is the Vishnu lying in the ocean of milk. That Karunodakshayi Vishnu is the super soul of all living entities and the maintainer of all the universes. Sheshanaga is his further subpart. Mahavishnu Jagat Karta Mayaya Yasrijati Adaha Tasyavatara Evayam Advaita-ācārya Ishvaraha. Text 12. Mahavishnu, of the name Mahavishnu, the resting place of the efficient cause. Jagat Karta, the creator of the cosmic world. Mayaya, by the illusory energy. Ya, who? Srijati, creates. Ada, that universe. Tasya, his. Avatara, incarnation. Eva, certainly. Ayam, this. Advaita-ācārya, of the name Advaita-ācārya. Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, the resting place of the material cause. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Advaita-ācārya is the incarnation of Mahavishnu, whose main function is to create the cosmic world through the actions of Maya. Text number 13. Advaita Marinadvaita Ācāryam Bhakti Samsanat Bhaktavataram Tam Advaita-ācāryamasraye. Advaitam, known as Advaita. Harina, with Lord Hari. Advaita, from being non-different. Ācāryam, known as Acharya. Bhakti Samsanat, from the propagation of devotional service to Sri Krishna. Bhaktavataram, the incarnation as a devotee. Isham, to the Supreme Lord. Tam, to him. Advaita-ācāryam, to Advaita-ācārya. Ashraye, I surrender. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Because he is non-different from Hari, the Supreme Lord, he is called Advaita. And because he propagates the cult of devotion, he is called Acharya. He is the Lord and the incarnation of the Lord's devotee. Therefore, I take shelter of him. Text number 14. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupaswarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam Panchatattva-atmakam, comprehending the 5 transcendental subject matters. Krishnam, unto Lord Krishna. Bhaktarupa, in the form of a devotee. Swarupakam, in the expansion of a devotee. Bhakta avataram, in the incarnation of a devotee. Bhakta-ācyam, known as a devotee. Namami, I offer my obeisances. Bhakta-shaktikam, the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who supplies energy to the devotee. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is non-different from his features as a devotee, devotional incarnation, devotional manifestation, pure devotee, and devotional energy. Text 15. Jayatam suratu pangor mama manda mater gati matsarvasvapadam bhoju radha madana mohanau. Jayatam, all glory to Surato, most merciful or attached in conjugal love. Pangohu, of one who is lame. Mama, of me. Mandamate, foolish. Gati, refuge. Mat, my. Sarvasva, everything. Pada Ambojo, whose lotus feet. Radha Madana Mohano, Radharani and Madana Mohana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Glory to the all-merciful Radha and Madan Mohan. I am lame and ill-advised, yet they are my directors, and their lotus feet are everything to me. Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadaha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanastu Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prishtalibihi Sivyamano Smarami Divyat shining Vrinda Aranya in the forest of Vrindavana Kalpadruma desire tree Adaha beneath Srimat, most beautiful, Ratna Agara, in a temple of jewels, Simha Asanastu, sitting on a throne, Srimat, very beautiful, Radha, Srimati Radharani, Srila Govinda Devo, and Sri Govinda Deva, Prishta Alibihi, by most confidential associates, Sivyamano, being served, Smarami, I remember. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. In a temple of jewels in Vrindavana, underneath a desire tree, Sri Sri Radha Govinda, served by their most confidential associates, sit upon an effulgent throne. I offer my humble obeisances unto them. Text number 17. Sriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamshivata Tatashtitaham Karshan Venu Svaner Gopir Gopinath Sriyestuna Sriman, most beautiful, Rasa of the rasa dance, Rasa of the mellow, Arambhi, the initiator, Vamshivata, of the name Vamshivata, Tata, on the shore, Stitaha, standing, Karshan, attracting, Venu, of the flute, Svanai, by the sounds, Gopihi, the coward girls, Gopinata, Shri Gopinata, Shriye, benediction, Astu, let there be, Na, our. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Gopinata, who originated the transcendental mellow of the rasa dance, stands on the shore in Vamshivat and attracts the attention of the coward damsels with the sound of his celebrated flute. May they all confer upon us their benediction. Text 18. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya, all glory Sri Caitanya, to Sri Caitanya, Jaya, all glory, Nityananda, to Lord Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, all glories to Advaita Ācārya, Jaya, all glory, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, to the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Glory to Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda, glory to Advaita-Acārya, and glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. Text 19. 18 Thakur Gadiyake Karye Cheno Yatmasat, 18 Charana Vandana Tire Morinat. These three deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The author of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta offers his respectful obeisances unto the three deities named of Vrindavana, named Sri Radha Madan Mohan, Sri Radha Govinda Deva, and Sri Radha Gopinatha. These three deities are the life and soul of the Bengali Vaishnavas or Gaudiya Vaishnavas, who have a natural aptitude for residing in Vrindavana. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas who follow strictly in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu worship the divinity by chanting transcendental sounds meant to develop a sense of one's transcendental relationship with the Supreme Lord, a reciprocation of mellows, rasas, of mutual affection, and ultimately the achievement of the desired success in loving service. These three deities are worshipped in three different stages of one's development. The followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu scrupulously follow these principles of approach. Gaudiya Vaishnavas perceive the ultimate objective in Vedic hymns composed of 18 transcendental letters that adored Krishna as Madan Mohana, Govinda, and Gopijana Vallabha. Madan Mohana is he who charms Cupid, the god of love. Govinda is he who pleases the senses and the cows. And Gopijana Vallabha is the transcendental lover of the gopis. Krishna himself is called Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopijana Vallabha, and countless other names as he plays in his different pastimes with his devotees. The three deities, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopijana Vallabha, have very specific qualities. Worship of Madan Mohana is on the platform of reestablishing our forgotten relationship with the personality of Godhead. In the material world, we are presently in utter ignorance of our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. Pangoho refers to one who cannot move independently by his own strength. And Mandamate is one who is less intelligent because he is too absorbed in materialistic activities. It is best for such persons not to aspire for success in fruitive activities or mental speculation, but instead simply to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The perfection of life is simply to surrender to the Supreme. In the beginning of our spiritual life, we must therefore worship Madan Mohan so that he may attract us and nullify our attachment for material sense gratification. This relationship with Madan Mohan is necessary for neophyte devotees. When one wishes to render service to the Lord with strong attachment, one then worships Govinda on the platform of transcendental service. Govinda is the reservoir of all pleasures. When, by the grace of Krishna and the devotees, one reaches perfection in devotional service, he can appreciate Krishna as Gopijana Vallabha, the pleasure deity of the damsels of Braja. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained this mode of devotional service in 3 stages, and therefore these worshipable deities were installed in Vrindavana by different Goswamis. They are very dear to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas there, who visit the temples at least once a day. Besides the temple of these three deities, many other temples have been established in Vrindavana, such as the temple of Radha Damodar of Jiva Goswami, the temple of Shyama Sundar of Shyamananda Goswami, the temple of Gokulananda of Lokanath Goswami, and the temple of Radha Raman of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. There are 7 principal temples over 400 years old that are the most important of the 5,000 temples now existing in Vrindavana. Gaudiya indicates the part of India between the southern side of the Himalaya mountains and the northern part of the Vindhya hills, which is called Aryavarta, or the land of the Aryas. This portion of India is divided into 5 parts or provinces: Pancha Gauda Desha, Saraswata, Kashmir and Punjab, Kanya-kubja, Uttar Pradesh, including the modern city of Lucknow, Madhya Gauda, Madhya Pradesh, Maithila, Bihar and part of Bengal, and Utkal, part of Bengal and the whole of Orissa. Bengal is something called Gauda Desha, partly because it forms a portion of Maithila, and partly because the capital of the Hindu king, Raj Lakshman Sena, was known as Gauda. This old capital later came to be known as Gaudapura and gradually Mayapur. The devotees of Orissa are called Udiyas. The devotees of Bengal are called Gaudiyas. And the devotees of southern India are called as Dravidi devotees. As there are 5 provinces in Aryavarta, so Dakshinatya, southern India, is also divided to 5 provinces, which are called Pancha Dravida. The 4 Vaishnava-acharyas, who are the great authorities of the 4 Vaishnava disciplic successions, as well as Sripad Shankaracharya of the Mayavada school, appeared in the Pancha Dravida provinces. Amongst the 4 Vaishnava-acharyas, who are all accepted by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Sri Ramanujacharya appeared in the southern part of Andhra Pradesh at Mahabhuta Puri. Sri Madhvacharya appeared at Pajakam near Vimanagiri in the district of Mangalore. Sri Vishnu Swami appeared at Pandya, and Sri Nimbarka appeared at Mungera Patana in the extreme south. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the chain of disciplic succession from Madhvacharya, but the Vaishnavas in his line do not accept the Tattvavadis, who also claim to belong to the Madhva Sampradaya. To distinguish themselves clearly from the Tattvavadi branch of Madhva's descendants, the Vaishnavas of Bengal prefer to call themselves Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Sri Madhvacharya is also known as Sri Gauda Purnananda, and therefore the name Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya is quite suitable for the disciplic succession of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad, Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaja, accepted initiation in the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya.
Haribol.
Would somebody else like to continue reading? Or any
Prabhupada, I think
comments?
what we'll do is we've opened up the floor now for any questions to be directed towards you, the speaker. So if anybody has any questions, because we're at 9:56 in the class, so we'll end up the class with questions and answers, and then move forward till next Saturday and Sunday with our Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam classes. So the floor is open. Please, others, please bring forth your questions or comments.
Any comments, anyone?
Yes, I do have a comment.
Mhm.
Thank you for the reading, by the way. It was so excellently done, first of all. And then secondly, it shows in detail how the Vaishnava line of disciplic succession is respected. And it is a very serious opportunity for all of us as devotees to take up the process of Krishna consciousness according to Prabhupada's profound presentation of this great literature. And this is the idea of protecting the legacy of Srila Prabhupada. There's a lot of tendency to speculate on this philosophy by many people, or for some people to think, oh, look at how smart I am. Now I've become introduced to this great literature. Now I'm going to go ahead and enter into a special position of teaching others. But the main thing is for us to clearly hear this philosophy from our spiritual master. And in this way, our Bhakti Lata Bija, the plant of devotion, will grow and fructify into love of God eventually. I know that I'm reading forward right now. I've started the reading of Caitanya-caritāmṛta for the third time in the last few years. And I'm in Madhya Lila, the discussions between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy, where Lord Chaitanya is asking Ramananda Roy all the different aspects of love of God and how the devotee should perceive himself in that role as a servant of the Supreme Lord. So there's a great excitement in this literature as it will reveal the highest levels of Krishna consciousness available to the conditioned souls in this universe. So this is a great opportunity. Yes, Rakesh Sharma, Ram Raghava, please.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Yes, thank you very much for that wonderful reading. I have a question for Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. In the first line of the last paragraph, it says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the chain of disciplic succession from Madhva-Ācārya, but the Vaishnavas in his line do not accept the Tattvavadis, who also claim to belong to the Madhva Sampradaya. So why is there a difference? Why do the Vaishnavas not accept the Tattvavadis? And why do they claim to belong to the Madhva Sampradaya?
This is a long discussion, basically. The line of disciplic succession for Lord Chaitanya was first mentioned in the history of our Sampradaya by an Acharya named Kavi Karnapur in a book called Gora Ganodesha Dipika, in which he gives the whole list of the Acharyas, and there's a few of the Acharyas there mentioned from the Madhva line. And then he mentions Madhavendra Puri, Ishwara Puri, Lord Chaitanya. Subsequent to that, the next mention of the disciplic succession in our Sampradaya was done by Baladev Vidyabhushana in a book called Prameya Ratnavali, in which he gives the same line of disciplic succession that was given by Kavi Karnapur, and he expands. This is in the first chapter of the book, Prameya Ratnavali. Now, the Tattvavadis, they're followers of Madhvacharya, but the Gaudiya Sampradaya distinguishes itself specifically after Lord Chaitanya, that the Madhvas are basically worshipping Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayana in these different aspects, whereas the Gaudiya Sampradaya worships primarily Lord Radha Krishna, Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna. So there are some technical differences, and basically, there have been a lot of discussions in the last 200 years amongst different scholars analyzing the list of disciplic succession that have been given by Kavi Karnapur and Baladevi Bhusana. And by the time of Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he did some writings to the effect that those Gaudiya Vaishnavas who do not accept the line of disciplic succession that has been given by Baladevi Bhusana are the greatest enemies of the Gaudiya Sampradaya. So it is obvious that by the time of Bhaktivedanta Thakur that there were certain sections of the Gaudiya Sampradaya that did not accept the actual line that it has been given by our acharyas. So at least for now, that's all I can comment upon. But basically, Balavidya Bhusana reconciled the teachings of the Tattvavadis or the Madhva followers with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Somebody would have to read the first chapter of the Pramaya Ratnavali where he explains this in some Sanskrit terms, describing the 9 basic fundamental principles of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So there's a lot of technical points here. I mean, the teachings of Madhva, like for example, Prabhupada mentions in one purport in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta that the Madhvas and Ramanujas are very expert to break the teeth in the arguments of the Mayavadis, especially the Madhvas. Their whole disciplic succession is entirely based upon fighting all the arguments of the Mayavadis. So like that, that's about all I can say for now. So I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions?
Ram Raghava, could you read the question from Tattva Darshana, please, for the speaker?
Sure. Tattva Darshana Prabhu writes, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. In our Sampradaya, our Acharya mostly stress on worship of Krishna. So can we in our temples Vishnu Tattva worship? Do Vishnu Tattva worship? Is there any of your Acharyas from Gaudiya Sampradaya who worship Vishnu Tattva? Inquisitive to know. Kindly enlightened on this, Prabhu.
Well, whether any other Gaudiya Acharyas established Vishnu worship, for our purpose, Prabhupada did that. For those of us that know, during Prabhupada's manifested presence, he installed Sitaram deities in Washington, D.C., USA. Most of the temples were all Radha Krishna worship, Gaurnitai worship, Jagannath, Balaram, Subhadra worship. But he did establish deities of Sitaram. So it is, Vishnu Tattva deities are not against the teachings of our acharyas. Just that the particular mood or the particular inclination of all of our Gaudiya acharyas is the worship of Radha Krishna. Now, the Madhvas have a peculiar doctrine because they claim that Radharani's name is not mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Prabhupada deals with that in one purport in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta. There is a verse in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, Anayaradito nunan Bhagavan Aririshvara, that the gopi that left the assembly of the other gopis to leave, that was Radharani, according to our acharyas. But the Madhvas, they don't have this worship of Radharani in their sampradaya. But it is perfectly acceptable to worship Vishnu Tattva deities. Prabhupada mentions that in so many different purports, the worship of Sitaram, worship of Narasimha, worship of Lord Narasimha, that is a Vishnu Tattva deity. Prabhupada introduced that with the prayers Namaste Narasimhaya, and also Narasimha deities. So it is not that it is contrary to the teachings of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, just that the emphasis, the main emphasis is the worship of Radha Krishna. But we're not to think that worship of Narasimha or Sitaram is bogus. That is not proper thinking. Hare Krishna. Any other comments about that?
Balaram, please. Question.
Go ahead, Balaram Prabhu.
Yes, we have the beautiful worship of Sitaram and Lakshman and Hanumanji in our temple in Mumbai, the Juhu Beach Temple. Beautiful worship there.
Good. Excellent. Does that answer your question, Tattvadarshinaha? Go ahead, Vishwakarma.
Yes, I wanted to ask you about at home. Like, what would you recommend for worship at a home temple and to minimize offenses? You know, because some devotees, they install Radha Krishna deities, etc. And I know there's a very high standard for that. What would you recommend as a format for devotees to follow in terms of home deity worship?
Prabhupada recommended worship of Gaur Nitai, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, or worship of Panchatattva. Because Prabhupada says that those deities, they do not take offense. Not that this is a license to make offenses, but it is more appropriate, basically, than full-fledged. I mean, I know that many devotees, they keep these figurines that are not installed deities. They're just these little still deities, like deities, but they're not like full-fledged deities that are installed and they're kept on a shelf. That's different. That's a different level. But Prabhupada was not very much in favor of that. But many people do that these days. And I know that a lot of Hindus, basically, you know, it's the mentality that the devotee has when we worship Krishna is we worship Krishna in the mood of Lakshmi Narayana. Prabhupada has stated that many times in different letters and other teachings, that we don't worship, in the beginning, we don't worship Krishna in the mood of the Raganuga inhabitants of Vrindavan. Although it is Radha Krishna is worshipped in a sense of veneration and respect, like Lakshmi Narayana. That is the understanding. But if one is fixed up enough and regulated enough that he can do the regular deity worship, he could worship Lord Jagannath also. But it depends on the situation, time, place, and circumstances. But of all the things that Prabhupada recommend, the chanting is the most important. One cannot neglect to chant his rounds on the plea that I'm worshiping the deity. That is not the correct understanding. As a matter of fact, just recently I was looking at the Easy Journey to Other Planets. And within that book, there is reference to the 5 most important principles of devotional service taught by Lord Chaitanya. Residing in a holy place and reading Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting. And the most important is the chanting of Hare Krishna. So if one has a household and can worship the deity, that's nice, but it depends on the standard, the time, place, the circumstances, the situation. So that's why the worship of Gaur Nitai and Panchatattva is recommended. I hope that helps.
Yeah, I wanted to mention, you know, when we first opened the Hamilton Temple back in 1970, it was really we had a house where we were renting, a few of us, a band house type of thing, and then Damaraj and Gunamayi and a guy named Minakatan, I can't remember his wife's name. They showed up from Buffalo into Hamilton, and they started a so-called temple, you know, which was a preaching center. And basically, we used the Panchatattva painting and a picture of Prabhupada as the spiritual master on the altar. That was basically it. And we offered our food to in that way and did kirtan in that way. And it was really quite blissful and seemed quite appropriate for us. So I'm just saying it traditionally, the way the movement was spreading was with the use of Panchatattva. We used to have a Sankirtan bus. I had what's called the Blue Bus. And I traveled with a guy, B.B. Govinda, a fellow Kashi Ram and Giri Jadava from Toronto. Different devotees traveled with me for about a year and a half in the bus at the same time that Vishnu John was traveling. And Prabhupada mentions that we were traveling in these buses before Radha Damodar. And all we did was we had an altar with the Panchatatma and a picture of Prabhupada on the altar. And that was our method of serving Lord Chaitanya, the deity, offering our food to Lord Chaitanya like that on the bus. And it was quite blissful and ecstatic. So I'm saying, I think that a simple Lord Chaitanya Panchatattva painting and picture of Prabhupada is sufficient to have a simple and really a non-offensive approach to deity worship. We have Venkat Bhaktivedanta has a question or a comment. Maybe you could express it to the speaker, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna.
Sure. Hare Krishna. So I think Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu already mentioned this point from Srimad Bhagavatam 4.24, 4th canto, 24th chapter, 45th verse. So Prabhupada says in the purport, Radha Krishna cannot be approached by the neophyte devotees. Therefore, temple worship according to regulative principles is offered to Lakshmi Narayan. Although there may be a Radha Krishna Vigraha or form, the worship of the neophyte devotees is acceptable as Lakshmi Narayan worship. So.
Nice. Very nice.
Also, I would like to mention that Tattva Darshana Prabhu responded and said, yes, Prabhu, that answered his question. He wanted to thank you.
Okay. There's a letter from Srila Prabhupada in 1971 where he discusses this issue. And Srila Prabhupada says, your husband's letter along with yours is very encouraging, and I've answered it separately. I'm so glad to know that both of you are enhancing your Krishna consciousness by mutual cooperation. May God bless you. You're all helping me by abiding the orders of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, and he will be pleased upon you who are his grand spiritual children. So this program to open a branch in Israel has got all my approval. Yes, you can set up a Guru Gauranga altar, and if you can offer full arti ceremony, that is nice. Panchatattva are most merciful. There's a lot of these kind of letters that Prabhupada wrote in the beginning with regards to the worship of Panchatattva. So another time Prabhupada says, yes, you may install either the Jagannath deities, the Panchatattva, or if you are very serious to engage in deity worship program, you may have both according to direction and advice of your GBC man. But this deity worship is very serious program, and it must be kept to the utmost highest standard and never allowed to be neglected. So if you are willing and able to initiate such program in Baltimore Center, I have no objection. Another place Prabhupada says, this is from a letter to Kurandar on the 31st of March, 1973. There's no need of adding further deities. Once installed, it cannot be changed. Do not make it childish. Too much addition of deities will encumber us. At first, either Panchatattva or Gauritai deities may be installed, taking care that there is sufficient space. There's no need to consult with me for these installations. The local president can decide whether the circumstances are fortunate. So there's a lot of references to Srila Prabhupada allowing the worship of Gauritai and the worship of Panchatattva. Also in Hawaii, I believe the Hawaii temple, Prabhupada had full-fledged Panchatattva deities installed in that temple. So, but there are numerous references in various Prabhupada purports that he refers to Vishnu Tattva deities. There's nothing wrong with worshiping Vishnu Tattva deities. Any other questions on this topic? Yes, Vishwakarma. Hare Krishna.
I wanted to just comment. I have a colleague here in Ontario. His name is Drupada Prabhu, and he is the former head pujari for the Krishna Balaram Mandir at the time of Srila Prabhupada's presence. And I've been using him as a guide for me in terms of how I handle the program with my Gaur-Nitai deities that were given to me from Mother Subhuti. In other words, all the deities that came to the house here, to this ashram, they appeared at the front door. They came from all different types of people. So I accepted them, of course, and then I set up a simple program of running Prabhupada japa 24 hours a day for them with an iPad I dedicated to them. And then Drupada, he brought cups for water. He said, well, at least you start and you change the water every day for your altars. So I started that. And then we added flowers, and then we offer the prasadam with the prayers and do the kirtan. And then Drupada advised me, he said, at least whatever you're doing, do that, and then maintain that. At least maintain what you're doing every day and stay steady in it. So this is his direction to me. And when he comes by to see how I'm handling everything, I take his advice. I'm either doing good or I'm doing bad. And then if he says everything's fine or if I have to change something, I take his direction. So like that, this is part of the Sadhu Sangha, the association of other devotees. A lot of times people minimize the association of Prabhupada disciples. In fact, there's a lot of aversion amongst these Ritvik groups against Prabhupada disciples. But I think that for us, as all Prabhupada disciples, whether new or old, that this is how we can continue to understand how to carry on with this process, taking advice from the Vaishnavas. Somebody else has a question? Excuse me.
Deepika is asking a question. She's saying, yes. Hare Krishna Prabhu, I had a question about service. I have a young baby and I spend most of my time taking care of her, preparing prasadam, cleaning, and household work. I barely get any time to read Prabhupada books. I chant my rounds and read a few pages of Bhagavad Gita. Should I prioritize reading Prabhupada books over household chores? ? I know Prabhupada mentioned taking care of household chores is the duty of a woman, but what if it interferes with reading books and attending classes?
I have an answer for that. I'd like to share an answer. I'm sure some of you have an answer. But Mataji, your first duty is to be a mother. That's the first thing. You take care of your child, and you bring that child up to be a Krishna conscious person. That's your first duty. This is a natural phenomena, that maternal instinct. I was looking today, and I notice this when I go out. Every time I see a woman, because everywhere you go, you see women with children. Now, if you look at a woman looking at her baby, now the baby may be only 2 months old, Vijaya Pandit. It may be a brand new baby. But when you look at the mother, she's looking at the baby like she's had the baby forever. That there's nothing that exists outside of her baby. So this is because this is the natural instinct, maternal instinct of the mother for the child. So you're just this, whatever you're doing, you're chanting rounds, you're reading the books, whatever you're reading, If you can come to the classes, that's okay. Your first duty is take care of your baby. And then Krishna will take care of you. Just stay focused on Krishna consciousness as your purpose in life. Okay? So that's my humble opinion, and in terms of how you as a woman should conduct your affairs as a mother. Yes, Yaśodā. Please.
There is a conversation, there was a letter Prabhupada wrote to a devotee named Arundhati, where he made a very famous statement: for you, child worship is more important than deity worship. So going along basically with that same line that Vishwakarma Prabhu mentioned, for a mother, especially for a devotee mother, taking care of the child is more important than anything else. Of course, the chanting can go on. I mean, if you have a cell phone or a tape recorder or a recording device, you can basically listen to the chanting, listen to the lectures while taking care of the baby too. You can also do that when you're driving the car without any disturbance. So it's a matter of adjusting and using this modern technology and using our, Western brains like that, and take advantage to basically keep connected with Prabhupada's teachings. Hare Krishna.
Balaram Das, please.
Following on from what Yaśodā Prabhu has said, my wife is a school teacher, Jamuna Jaya Devi, and she drives approximately 40 minutes to and from her work every day, morning and evening, and listens to a Prabhupada lecture while she's driving to school. She works for a government school, of course, and so if you want to do it, it's possible. She listens to a Prabhupada lecture every day while driving and trying to keep her eyes on the road at the same time.
That's nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Any other remarks or questions?
Yeah, I want to say this. We are moving ahead with Vinkat and Raghava and Yaśodā and our group of media people in creating Prabhupada TV, which will become a portal for us to constantly keep together, all of us in a group, with this direction, this focus of reestablishing Prabhupada's legacy without any adulteration, without any personal motive, without any ambition for money, without any ambition for glory, without any ambition for material success. This is a spiritual mission here. And, I do tell everybody, even at the ashram here, I say there's three ways to look at our life here at this ashram. Either step up or step down or step aside. When we went ahead to buy the temple in Toronto for Prabhupada, which is now worth about $45 million, this was, unfortunately, no one really understands what that meant to Prabhupada, although he sent me a letter. He said, it's a topmost triumph for Krishna that you've got this building. Now use it for preaching. Now it's changed into a Hindu temple. But the point is this. we stood up together as a group. It wasn't about one person. It was about a team, about a whole team of devotees that came together and succeeded. And so like that, we're going to move together as a team, all of us from around the world that are attending this class. So please meditate on what we're up to. Ram Raghava, I think it's time for us to conclude the class. It's 9:30. Would you like to play the kirtan, or unless somebody has a last urgent question?
Yes, I have a kirtan lined up, so if nobody has a question, I can present that.
Please. Thank you, everybody. It was ecstatic. Glories to Prabhupada. Back to Godhead, everyone.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.